So today I'm going to be talking about meal prep because as a bikini competitor for the NPC, or if you're just trying to lose weight or eat healthy, meal prepping is a great way to kind of stay on track, eating healthy foods instead of you're in a hurry and you need something to eat because you're hungry, so you just kind of rip open your pantry and you grab the quickest thing there is, which may not necessarily be the healthiest, whether it's the Oreos or the chips, anything like that, or whether it's running through the drive-thru because you're on the go and you don't have time to stop at home and get your food. So meal prepping is a great way to kind of spend a few hours one day a week to just kind of make food for about 5 to 7 days. It's kind of up to you what you prefer. And so it's already ready for you to eat, and all you really need to do is either keep it cool or heat it up when you're ready to eat it. So I usually do my meal prep on Sundays. That's when I have the most time. So today I am making steak. I usually eat steak after I lift weights, and then I am also making chicken. Normally, I cook my rice and vegetables on Sundays too, but I already have enough rice for the week, and I kind of cheated and bought the already cut up vegetables at my grocery store this week just out of convenience. But normally, I usually cook some vegetables on the stove on Sundays. But since today it's raining out, normally I grill my steaks, but one good thing to do is when it's not nice weather out on your meal prepping days is to use the broiler on your oven. So I really like to cook my steak using the broiler. I personally think it works just as well as grilling, and sometimes it's almost easier, well, especially for me because we use a charcoal grill, and so sometimes it takes a while to get the charcoal lit and wait for it to get warmed up and be ready, whereas broiling it in the oven doesn't take as long to heat up, and it's just kind of a quick thing. Takes about maybe 10-15 minutes to cook. So that's one thing. So I'm just going to go over a few tips for meal prepping. One of the biggest tips I would have is when I have the time on Sundays and I'm meal prepping is to cut up your meat. One of the biggest pet peeves when you're on the go and you're just ready to eat is having the meat cooked but not having it cut up, and just having like a chicken breast and a giant breast, and so you have to cut it up and stuff like that. And sometimes when you don't have the time, or it just is time consuming to cut food up, I like to cut it up on Sunday, so when I cook it, it's all cut up, and then all I have to do the night before my day is to just measure out the food and have it ready in the morning, and that just makes it a lot easier. So then all you're doing is popping it in the oven. So normally I either cut up my steak, it doesn't matter, it's kind of personal preference, either before or after you cook it. Right now I am cutting it before I cook it. Chicken, I would probably do the same, but lately I've been putting my chicken in the crock pot for two reasons. One, because then I don't have to go through the hassle of cutting it up at all, because when it sits in the crock pot it becomes basically pulled chicken, and so when it's done in the crock pot, all I have to do is put it in a container, and as I'm putting it in the container, if I stick my fork in it a little bit, it just kind of breaks up on its own, and so really cuts down the time and the hassle of cutting them, stuff like that. Another really kind of convenient thing is literally all you have to do is, so I have the chicken breasts right here, and they're a pretty decent size. Oops, I don't want to drop them on you. They're a huge size, and all I literally have to do is stick them in the crock pot, and you can kind of do it however you want. I just put 2-3 cups of water in the crock pot, and then a few spices. So I put in sea salt, sometimes cilantro if I'm feeling it. Weber has a really good seasoning called Kickin' Chicken that I like to put in there. I kind of dump it all in there. I've heard people using chicken broth, stuff like that. But I just kind of stick to water and seasoning, put it in the crock pot. I usually either, kind of a rule of thumb, I cook it on low for 8 hours or high for 4 hours. And both ways it turns out just as good. It's really nice because it kind of seals the moisture in there, so you don't have to worry about your chicken getting dry, like if you were to either grill it for too long or cook it in the oven for too long. Sometimes it gets too dry and it's a little gross and chewy. I haven't found that problem with the crock pot, so that's another good plus. Rice. I have heard that rice cookers are easier and quicker, but I do not have a rice cooker. I cook all my rice on the stove. But I also don't really have many complaints with that, because all you really need to do is, with every 1 cup of rice, it's 2 cups water, and kind of once you get it started on high on the stove and once it starts boiling, all you really have to do is turn the stove on to low and then kind of put a lid on it and let it cook for 45 minutes, and then boom, you're done. All you have to do is dump it into a container and it's over with. And I guess I'm kind of one of those people that likes cooking things where all you have to do is set it in something and have a timer on it, and that's it. It's really easy. So when I'm cooking my chicken, sometimes I'll just kind of put it in right before bed, so then it's done by the morning. Or if I don't have time to kind of get that all in the container and stuff in the morning, I'll do it. I'll wake up Sunday morning and put it in there, so by the time it's late afternoon or into the night, then it'll be done, and all I do is put it in the container for the rest of the week. Or with rice, when it's cooking, I like to have it be cooking for a while, and then I'm also doing laundry or something like that. So it's kind of a great way to multitask. With vegetables, you kind of have a lot of different choices. I really like asparagus, green beans, broccoli. All of that can kind of be steamed on the stove, or you can even bake them in the oven. I've baked a lot of asparagus and Brussels sprouts actually in the oven. I've just put some tin foil in a pan and kind of let it bake. It just kind of depends. You just kind of have to keep checking on it until it's tender, the amount of tenderness that you like it, because vegetables are vegetables. You can eat them raw, so it doesn't really matter about how well you cook them. It's kind of personal preference. And with those, you can kind of play with spices and stuff like that as well, so that's fun. But yeah, that's basically kind of my meal prep. I really like it because it helps keep me on track when I have really busy days. The night before, I just have all my food set out and ready, and then in containers. I have heard of people, when they meal prep on Sundays, they've kind of made everything and have them all measured out in separate containers for each meal. Now, I don't do that simply because it's the summer and I'm doing my internship and I'm at home, so I have other family members that need fridge space, so I can't shove all my containers in there. I can't shove like 6 containers for one day for 7 days a week in the fridge and everyone else have room. So for me, I kind of just put all the week's servings in big containers, and then I have smaller containers for like one day. So each night I will prep kind of get my meals in my containers for the next day. So that saves a lot of space. It's really not that time consuming because all you're doing is measuring it out and dumping it in the containers because it's already cooked. But that's kind of my 2 cents on meal prepping. It's definitely not just for people that are competing. I definitely meal prepped even when I wasn't in my competitions, especially when I was just learning how to eat healthy, because I found myself really tempted in the beginning. I wasn't really used to eating healthy all the time, or only having like a certain day or a certain meal where I kind of indulge. So it was kind of a new concept to find time to make healthy food, because making healthy food sometimes is time consuming because it's not processed. It's not that processed food that's ready for you whenever. So meal prepping definitely helped me as a beginner, and the longer you do it, the more ways you find how to cook things efficiently and how you like things personally, because I think everyone's different, and I think everyone's meal prep is different based on their personal preferences. But I really encourage all of you to try it just for 1 week and just see how you like it. Would love to hear feedback on how you like it, and I hope this video was helpful. Thanks. Bye.